And just to let you guys know, we will record this meeting, and I'm going to start in about 5 seconds here. So again, my name is Gay Moorbacher, and I've been around at WGBH as long as PEEP has, even longer. So yeah, I'm the go-to person for PEEP if you have questions, and I'm really happy to be presenting PEEP's newest resources today. PEEP currently airs in English and Spanish on the PBS Kids 24/7 channel. It also has a really strong following on YouTube in both languages. The episodes are on Amazon and, of course, on PEEP's website, which is not part of the PBS Kids umbrella. It's PeepandTheBigWideWorld.com is where you'll find PEEP resources. And as I mentioned to a few of you who were on early, you know, when I'm out doing educator workshops or family events, it's really heartwarming to hear how families love these characters. It's been on the air since 2004. So, you know, it's like doing outreach with Arthur or Curious George. So now we have a new resource for these people who love PEEP, PEEP Family Science. It's a free new series of apps for young families. We also have support materials for educators who work with families. And this is a new resource that stations can bring directly to families or share with the agencies and other groups that you work with that do parent education, and they can in turn share PEEP Family Science with their audience. And again, everything I show you today, if I don't say it again, is available in English and Spanish. And I think we're going to save questions till the end, but if you have a burning question, go ahead and type it in the chat box, and at the end we can go back and look to see what questions you have. Okay, some very brief context. So this work was a 3-year effort funded by the National Science Foundation. They were interested in helping us find new ways to bring early science experiences to children, particularly those who do not attend formal preschool. So the design was a collaborative effort between us, researchers from EDC, and the involvement of 2 long-established home visiting programs, HIPPY USA, and that has to be the best ever acronym. It stands for Home Instruction for Parents of Preschool Youngsters, and Avance. As you're probably aware, home visiting is a service delivery strategy that matches new parents with a trained early childhood specialist. And the services are voluntary, provided in families' homes, and that means they often reach those who are socially or geographically isolated. It's a 2-generation approach, so it delivers both child and parent-oriented services to help the whole family. So HIPPY and Avance were ideal partners to help us reach at-risk, under-resourced 3 to 5-year-olds not attending formal preschool. And of additional interest to us as well as HIPPY and Avance was the fact that these organizations have unmet needs of their own around integrating technology into their programming. Before I jump ahead, just let me say that while we developed PEEP Family Science with and for home visiting organizations, these apps will be valued by most all families, and the educator support materials I'll show you later can be adapted easily to the needs of a variety of programs that support young family learning. Okay, I'm going to play a 3-minute introduction video to PEEP Family Science. And incidentally, you can also download the same video from PEEP's website in either English or Spanish and use it in your own presentations. So I'm going to go over to my video.
A great education begins at home, and what young children need to learn and develop is a loving parent or caregiver cheering them on.
Ready, set, go!
PEEP Family Science was designed for parents, especially those served by home visiting programs. It focuses on the science young children are naturally curious about: shadows, ramps in movement, colors, and sounds. No one is better at exploring these everyday wonders with their children than their parents. PEEP Family Science comes in free, easy-to-use apps in English and Spanish. Featuring characters kids love, the apps combine animated stories from the TV show PEEP and the Big Wide World with playful, hands-on science activities. Aligned with the Next Generation Science Standards and Head Start Early Learning Outcomes Framework, PEEP Family Science teaches the science concepts and skills that are important for problem solving and critical thinking, what young children need to thrive in school. Watching videos and using apps to learn science?
Oh, how does he sound in the can?
Really, really, really echoey.
Not all parents are comfortable using media to educate their child, but research shows that media can help children learn, especially when guided by an adult and used with hands-on exploration.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
There's no escaping it. Children will be using media their whole lives. The PEEP apps help families use technology in positive ways right from the start. PEEP Family Science is flexible and can be adapted to the needs of many different programs, with lots of print and video resources that support educators and program coordinators. And since parents aren't always confident doing science with their children, there are videos that model how to do the activities. How do we know it works? PEEP Family Science was developed by WGBH, Boston's public media station, and researchers from the Education Development Center, in collaboration with preschool science and early childhood experts, as well as two long-established home visiting programs, Hippie USA and Avance. Testing showed that parents and educators found PEEP Family Science easy to use and fun. Parents reported their children learned science and valued the time spent together as a family. Help families get their children off to a great start with PEEP Family Science.
These are cool.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did this.
I'm so glad that I did this with you.
I love you.
I love you.
So let me go back to my slides. So the goal was to deliver a media-based resource that would jointly engage parents and children in science learning. And it very quickly became obvious that a digital app was our best means of delivery. Why? Because cell phones were far more prevalent than other digital devices among this target audience. The apps can be downloaded once at the library, for instance, or at the home visiting group's regularly scheduled parent meetings, and then used offline for the duration of the experience without eating up families' precious data plans. You guys have probably heard this from some of the families you work with. Those data plans are really precious to them. In addition, all of the video and activities are assembled in one place. The families don't need to leave the app for different pieces of the curriculum. And while, of course, there are many other science apps available today for preschoolers, they do tend to focus just on games, and games teach children science content for sure, but often those kinds of apps are handed to kids and not shared jointly by parent and child. This app actually acts like the parent guide that home visitors typically deliver to families in print, but it's a lot more. It conveys science content. It also embodies best practices for using media with young children. It's really visual with the photos and video. It steps out activity directions. It actually takes advantage of the phone's camera to document science play, either the sound or with video and pictures, so families go back and reflect on their experiences later. And since parents aren't always confident doing science with their children, there are videos with moms and kids in their own homes modeling activities and ways to help children learn, and you saw that in the video. The app offers parents questions and prompts throughout so that they can continue to connect with their child every step of the way. So this app really directly involves parents in the science learning, and I'm pleased to tell you that just 2 weeks ago, we heard from Common Sense Media that they gave us a 5-star rating for this app, specifically noting its co-use on and off screen. So that was really exciting. So using the 3-word term PEEP Family Science on either Google Play or in the App Store will bring up 4 available topics in either Spanish or English. Each app has 4 weeks worth of playful science in doses of 20 to 30 minutes. So each day there's a short PEEP video, either the animated 8-minute stories or the 1.5-minute live action, and that's paired with a related hands-on activity as well as prompts to take an exploration further. There's a parent video offered at the beginning of the app and another midway through, modeling activities that are coming up and ways for parents to engage their child. So I'm going to do a sneaky little navigation of the app without using my phone. First, I'm going to share my screen. And what I have here is basically one of the last wireframes that we had for how the app looks. So I don't have to connect my phone to show this to you. So you see the app opens up, and what you're missing here is the cute sound and the music from PEEP. But there's 3 welcome slides, so you're going to explore ramp. It explains you're going to watch a video and do an activity twice a week for 4 weeks. I'm ready. So before you jump into any of the activities, you have the option to watch a parent video. I'll just play a couple seconds of this. So parents can choose to watch that. In our research testing with parents and home visiting programs, many parents watched multiple times. That's how unconfident that they were at the beginning of things. And then we move along into the actual days of science, and they're all set up similarly. So you've got week 1, day 1, and day 2. There's a video and an activity. You're into week 2. It's just a new color cueing you. And sometimes you're watching the same animated story a second time because, as we all know, children are going to notice different things each time. And let me just click into this. So it's telling the parents that they're going to watch that same story again to make new discoveries, and we're going to prompt them to help them do that. And the science skills they're using are these. So the family starts the video. I'm not going to. And then we're going to talk about what you noticed this time. And a little tip will pop up. Watch again. Children learn things each time they watch something. Oh, okay. Typically, there's a series of prompts getting the child to relate what they saw in the story to what they know in their everyday life. But since this was the second time through, it wasn't that involved. And then we move to the activity called roll or slide. And it's described. The science skills are given. We start. And these are the materials, and these are about as simple as we could make things. And all the activity directions are spelled out, really visual. Prompts for the parents, and these open-ended questions that are hard for some of them. And in a lot of these activities, we'll have them record, say, objects moving down a ramp that's steeper than another ramp, and then go back and reflect on those. Having a hard time scrolling. Here we go. There's always a prompt to keep exploring further. and you finish the activity and use the strategies. We did it. There's a little celebration screen with some cute music. And then the next time, a recap of what they've learned today. The next time the family comes back to the app, they're at week 3, and here's that second parent video. So that's how the navigation works. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to our slides. And I want to make sure that you know that this, we also provide support materials for educators who do either parent education workshops or get families together. These are all free and accessible as PDFs on PEEP's website. And specifically, we have an educator video that's called Getting Started, and it models an educator and parent navigating the app for the first time and talking about those 3 strategies to keep children engaged. There's an educator guide for each of the 4 apps. So there's one on color, sound, shadows, and ramps. And it explains how to introduce the app to parents and takes them through the particular app's 4 weeks of content. And there's also a site coordinator guide outlining how a home visiting program site might introduce PEEP to program staff for the first time. I want to go back now and share my screen and take us all to the internet, and we'll look to see where these resources for the educators are. And we may as well start with Google, and you can literally search PEEP Family Science. And here we are. So if you're familiar with PEEP's website, there's areas for kids, parents, and educators. When you get to the educator's homepage, we have a 6-unit curriculum for family child care and center-based child care, along with professional development videos. And here's the new resources for home visiting organizations. And what you have here is the video that you saw, and then the app. So for each of the apps, we're giving instructions where to download. And then for educators, we have the educator guide, and we also provide printouts. So in our testing with families, we tested with over 200 families. There were 2 families, one who didn't want to use her phone at all, and another who had so much on her phone, video and photograph-wise, that she didn't want to risk losing any of that. So we have printouts for all the activities as well. And for those families who were missing out on the videos from the app, the videos were all here on the website for the home visitor to do with them. There's parent handouts, and there's a guide for the program site coordinators. And when you want to download the app itself, obviously you're leaving PEEP's website. Which I failed to do, but I'm doing now. And it just looks like this. And it really takes about a minute to download. And in the remotest areas, we were working in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, it never took longer than 2 minutes to download. And of course, it's free. So let's leave here, go back to our slides. And sort of wind things down by telling you some of the research highlights with these 200 families that was done. The Avance families, their home visitors speak in Spanish to them, so they tested the Spanish language app, and Hippie used the English app. And really good results. Families were quite positive. They enjoyed the experience. They found time for it, which is we were really nervous about because the home visiting organization obviously has other curriculum for them to do during the week. They recognized that this app was educational for their child and that it gave them new parenting ideas. And it revealed that parent and child were actively doing science together. So parents were using strategies. They learned that science is all around them to discover indoors and out, and that they can do investigations with very simple materials, and that technology can be a real learning tool. And in fact, as opposed to isolating a child from the parent, it was brought them together in a shared learning experience. So there were some lovely comments about that. So PEEP Family Science, as I said, is flexible and can be adapted to the needs of many different programs that work with families. And this list is a list of PEEP's official dissemination partner organizations. So these are groups that have agreed to share PEEP Family Science with their audiences. And a few of these, like Healthy Families America and Parents as Teachers and the Parent-Child Home Program, are home visiting programs. But then we have National Head Start, which, as you know, does some home visiting, the Military Child Education Coalition, Association of Library Service to Children, and so on. And we've been making presentations at their conferences. Two of the home visiting groups have actually presented PEEP to their international offices, and that's Parents as Teachers and HIPPY. And 4 are creating guidance for their sites on how to add PEEP to their work. And they're all using a promotional toolkit that we gave them with social media posts and PowerPoints and such to introduce PEEP to their audiences. So basically, in conclusion, we're hoping that Stations 2 will be a megaphone for PEEP Family Science. For starters, please follow PEEP on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you don't already. Consider mentioning the apps in your Kids Club efforts, and remember that your audiences are going to love that it has that 5-star rating from Common Sense Media. And that little shortened URL there, we're going to give you access to the full set of promotional assets we've pulled together, including the things bulleted here. And everything in this folder, including photos, are all cleared for your use. And I'll just show you what the contents of the folder look like. So we've got photos and video, we have parent and educator flyers, we have a PowerPoint introduction, email blast, logos and web banners, spring social media calendar. This README doc just sort of walks you through what all's in here, a PDF of our research highlights, and the introductory video I showed you today in both English and Spanish. So you all have access to that, and I hope it will be useful to you. I know our partners have been using it quite a bit. When you got your invitation to this webinar, you saw that WGBH would be sending something to the first 10 folks who registered. And what that is we are going to gather a box of all the hands-on materials needed for activities in one of the PEEP Family Science apps, probably RAMP. And it would be our goal that you would use these supplies to bring a bunch of families together and introduce them to the app, or donate the box of materials to a local parent education group so that they could introduce the app to families. So I will be checking the registration list and be in touch via email with the first 10 of you who signed up to see if you want to take us up on that offer. So let's see what kind of questions have come in and answer those first. Is there a one-sheet overview for trainings? Yes, in that folder, the bit.ly folder, there's a flyer. The flyer is being translated now, Mary Alice. Thank you for asking. No one had asked for it until recently, and we had just not made it a priority, but it's back on the list as a priority. So we'll add that to that box folder as soon as it's translated. How many of you think that this would be of interest in your outreach work? Good, easy to share. Great. Awesome. It was fun. I mean, the educators in the home visiting program had never used technology with families and had, basically been told to discourage, screen time, and to be introduced to something that's a shared learning experience and, pairs video with hands-on activities was just eye-opening for them. It was awesome. Awesome, guys. This really makes me feel great. This has just been great. My email is on the screen, my phone number. I want to give you plenty of time to jot those down. I'd be happy to help in any way. If you're not one of the 10 stations that I contact probably tomorrow with the offer of the box of materials and you think you could use them, go ahead and email me and we'll try to make that happen. It is perfect for homeschool groups. It really is. We'll give Cindy one last chance, and then we'll get you out of here on time. I personally like short webinars, so I hope I didn't go too fast. Definitely reach out to me if there's something that you missed or didn't understand. Great. Awesome. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon. I'm glad the response has been so positive. I encourage you to go to the App Store or Google Play and download one of the apps or all of the apps and fool around with them. It was my pleasure to be with you today.